The Olympic Games are all about bringing the world together through sports, aiming to create a peaceful and better global community. However, over its 125-year history, the Games have sometimes been caught in political dramas leading to boycotts, bans, and cancellations. While some Olympics saw threats of withdrawal, like the 1936 Games in Nazi Berlin, others were completely called off due to world wars. And there were 6 most crucial occasions when countries officially boycotted the Olympics. So let's dive into this video today to learn more about the 6 Olympic boycotts that made waves in history. Here we begin. 1988 ban. The 1988 Seoul Olympics, held in South Korea, were boycotted by 4 countries: Cuba, Ethiopia, Nicaragua, and North Korea. North Korea's refusal to attend stemmed from its inability to co-host the event with South Korea. While major powers like the Soviet Union, China, and other Eastern Bloc nations chose to participate, the boycott included only these 4 nations. Cuban President Fidel Castro expressed his discontent by comparing holding the Olympics in Seoul to having them at the Guantanamo Naval Base, questioning the security in Seoul as compared to Los Angeles, where the 1984 Olympics were held. Despite the boycotts, the 1988 Olympics were notable for setting new records. With 159 nations and 8,000 athletes participating, it was the largest games of the Cold War era. However, the Seoul Games were not without controversy. There were reports of local residents being evicted from their homes and homeless individuals being detained to clean up the city ahead of the Games. The Games also faced significant scandals, including Canadian sprinter Ben Johnson being stripped of his 100-meter gold medal for steroid use and controversial boxing decisions against South Korean athletes, which caused widespread outrage. In a significant post-Olympic development, leaders from North and South Korea met and agreed to send a unified team to the 2021 Tokyo Summer Games. However, North Korea later announced in April 2021 that it would not participate in the Tokyo Games due to concerns over the coronavirus pandemic. 1984 ban. Next, the 1984 Olympics, held in Los Angeles, faced a retaliatory boycott led by the Soviet Union, which was joined by 13 other countries, including East Germany and most of the Eastern Bloc. This boycott was in response to the US-led boycott of the Moscow Games in 1980. The Soviets cited fears of physical attacks and protests against their athletes on American soil, claiming that there was a rise in chauvinistic sentiments and anti-Soviet hysteria in the United States. Despite the boycott, the Los Angeles Games were highly successful. A record 140 nations participated, the highest number ever at that time. With many of its usual competitors absent, the United States dominated the medal tally, securing a record 83 gold medals. China made a notable return to the Summer Games for the first time since 1952, winning a total of 31 medals. American athletes like Carl Lewis in track, Joan Benoit in the marathon, and Mary Lou Retton in gymnastics became international stars due to their performances. Financially, the Games were also a triumph, with ticket sales nearly double those of the previous Montreal Olympics, and the event becoming the most watched in television history. 1980 ban. The 1980 Olympic Games in Moscow were marked by one of the largest boycotts in the history of the event. Hosted by the Soviet Union, the Games saw a massive withdrawal led by the United States in protest against the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan on December 27, 1979. More than 60 nations followed the U.S. lead, including Canada, Israel, Japan, China, West Germany, and most Islamic countries, choosing not to compete in the Games. Despite the global outcry and boycott, Afghanistan athletes participated in the Games. Some countries allow their athletes the option to compete independently under the Olympic flag. However, American athletes who considered competing independently faced severe consequences, including the threat of revoking their passports by the U.S. government, effectively barring them from participating. Moreover, a significant number of American athletes eager to compete in the Moscow Olympics challenged the U.S. Olympic Committee's decision to boycott by filing a lawsuit, but they ultimately lost the case. This boycott dramatically reduced the number of participating countries to just 80, marking the lowest turnout since the 1956 Olympics. President Carter enlisted the renowned boxer Muhammad Ali to persuade African nations to join the boycott during a tour across the continent to strengthen the boycott. However, Ali's mission faced complications as he began to receive backlash, accusing him of being a puppet for the White House. He eventually reversed his stance on the boycott. While the boycott showed a strong political stance, it did not achieve its broader goal of ending the Soviet-Afghan War, which continued until 1989. With many strong competitors like the US absent, the Soviet Union capitalized on the opportunity and dominated the Games, winning a record-breaking 195 medals, a record that still stands. 1976 ban. The 1976 Montreal Olympics faced significant boycotts, with over 20 African countries and Taiwan not participating. The boycott by the African nations, led by Tanzania and involving more than 400 athletes, was in response to New Zealand's national rugby team touring apartheid South Africa earlier that year, defying an international sports embargo. Despite this, the Olympic Committee allowed New Zealand to participate in the Games. Separately, Taiwan withdrew because Canada, the host nation, would not allow its team to compete under the name Republic of China. The boycotts had a substantial financial impact, leading to the need for hotel and ticket refunds totaling 1 million Canadian dollars. The absence of these countries was particularly felt in track and field events, where nations like Kenya and Tanzania were expected to excel and potentially win medals. 1964 ban. The 1964 Olympics, hosted in Tokyo, Japan, marked the first time the Games were held in an Asian country. However, China, North Korea, and Indonesia decided to boycott the event. The boycott responded to the International Olympic Committee's (IOC) decision to disqualify athletes who had participated in the 1963 Games of the New Emerging Forces held in Jakarta. This event was created as an alternative multinational amateur sports competition, and the boycotting countries had sent many of their top athletes there. Additionally, 1964 was notable as the first year that South Africa was banned from the Olympics due to its apartheid policies, a ban that would last until 1992. 1956 ban. Australia's first time hosting the Olympics in 1956 saw the first official Olympic boycott, with several countries pulling out for different political reasons. Just weeks before the Games began, the Soviet Union invaded Hungary to crush a revolution against its communist government. In response, the Netherlands, Spain, and Switzerland decided not to participate in the protest. At the same time, the People's Republic of China withdrew and didn't come back until the 1980 Winter Games because Taiwan was allowed to compete as its own nation, which China disagreed with. Additionally, Egypt, Iraq, and Lebanon did not attend the Olympics because of the Suez Canal crisis, which happened after Britain, Israel, and France invaded Egypt to take control of the canal. They even witnessed a dramatic clash called Blood in the Water. While some countries boycotted the event due to political tensions with the Soviet Union, Hungary chose to compete. During the Games, Hungarian athletes were cheered on by fans, whereas Soviet athletes were often booed. During a water polo match at the Olympics between Hungary and the Soviet Union, tensions escalated dramatically, resulting in violence. A Hungarian player sustained a head injury that bled significantly, which sparked a chaotic brawl involving players and spectators alike. At the time, Hungary was leading 4-0, and ultimately, they were declared the winners of the match and later secured the gold medal. Despite the incident, the Soviet team went on to win the most medals for the first time in these Olympics. In a striking contrast to the earlier conflict, a gesture of unity marked the closing ceremony, where athletes from different nations walked together, starting a tradition of camaraderie that continues in the Olympics today. So what do you think of these 6 Olympic boycotts that made waves in history? Comment below and subscribe for more.